time for a 3-minute grill.
Yeah, Adam Wisniewski from Breakfast, Life, and Dinner is joining us this morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Doing great.
Great.
We got
excited.
some potatoes.
We do. Potatoes, I've been on a potato kick recently. So I've been doing mashed potatoes for clients and baked potatoes. And I was looking for different ways to do baked potatoes. I came across this technique. It's the accordion technique, or Hasselback, which is a 1700s Swedish recipe for how to make a baked potato.
Nice.
So fancy baked potato. So baked potato, you can just take that and put a little oil on it, put a little salt on it, pierce it a couple times, and throw it in the oven.
Right.
But today, what we're going to do is we're going to cut it into really thin slices. So once you learn this technique, and that's what I like to teach people, is I like to teach a technique so that they can expand and do creative things with it. So one of the things I saw was you could take chopsticks and use these as your kind of aligners, but I found that these are a little thin. So what I'm doing is take 2 wooden spoons.
Okay.
And you're going to lay them, step one is I'm going to make a little flat spot. This one's pretty flat already, but I'm going to just cut a flat bit on the bottom of the potato so it lies flat.
Got it.
Right? And then I'm going to put the guidelines there, because what I want to do is I want to cut a whole bunch of little accordion slices without going all the way through.
So that you use the wooden spoon so that you don't cut all the way through.
Right.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so then this is a knife practice where I can, I'm going to, without getting any latex in there, I'm going to cut very, very thinly all the way down the potato and make an accordion out of it.
Cool.
Right? And so then you don't have to pierce it because it's already cut through, the potato. So then what we want to do is we want to get a little oil and salt and pepper on that for our base seasoning. And
Pretty good with that knife, Adam.
Not too bad. I've been doing it for a little bit. So, brush that in there, and you can kind of spread it open so you can get a little of the oil on the inside.
Okay.
Right. And so this is going to be just a very straightforward way to put a baked potato in the oven, and when it comes out, you've got this nice salted little appearance, right? So I've got a little salt and pepper.
Right here.
You've got a little crispiness on the inside, so it turns into almost, depending on how much, you can tear off a piece and try it if you want. So depending on how long you bake it, they can turn into a little bit of a potato chip texture around the edges, but still soft in the middle. And so you get the best of both worlds there.
And then once you get the technique down, there's probably other things that you could do with this, right?
There are. So we're gonna do things like stuff it. We're gonna look at other things.
What the heck, Alex? You didn't even try.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know if I was supposed to.
Well, I invited you.
Sorry.
That was good.
So it's a nice potato taste. It's got the crunchy outside, soft inside. You could drizzle a little butter on there and just serve it up, and it makes a nice little presentation all by itself.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah. And so that's going to go in the oven.
Okay.
450 for 30 minutes. Take it out, brush it again, get some more oil on the inside, put it back in the oven for another 25, 30 minutes until it starts to brown a little bit. And then we'll take next steps in a little bit.
And what are we going to do then?
So like I said, we're going to stuff it, and we're going to look at other ingredients.
Perfect.
Cool, Adam. All right, we'll check back in a little bit for the finished product of these fancy potatoes. But still to come, we're meeting a furry friend and Pet on the Set.
Lucy is here from Mobile Mutts, and she's a little sweet girl. We'll tell you her story and how you can adopt her. That's coming up next in Pet on the Set.
Greetings.
Hey, Adam Wisniewski from Breakfast, Life, and Dinner. What did we make earlier?
So we're making a fancy baked potato. When I teach students, I like to take a phrase that a client said, that I unleashed creativity in her daughter.
Ooh, I like that.
I'm going to use that from now on, but I like to unleash creativity for my students. So if you learn a technique, and then you start thinking, if you're familiar, if you're confident with your ingredients and your tools and your habits, you can develop a whole bunch of different recipes out of one technique.
Love it.
So what did we do earlier?
So what we did is we took a regular old baked potato and we cut it using some little guides, so we didn't cut all the way through. So what we did is we made these accordion-style potatoes, right? And then baked them in a couple of sessions. So this one was baked 30 minutes, rubbed with oil, baked 30 minutes, and then rubbed with more oil, baked 30 more minutes. So we've got this nice texture to it. And so then what we're going to do is we're going to stuff them. So here is a stuffed version with Swiss cheese, mushrooms, and green onions. And so what you can do is just take a couple of pieces and start putting them into the accordion there. And so this is, you know, most of the time I'm talking about meals that you're trying to get dinner on the table on Thursday night, and we're not going to mess around with fancy things like this.
Yeah.
A baked potato is perfectly good all by itself. You could saute some vegetables on the side, and then you've got dinner.
Yeah.
But if you're putting together a little bit more effort, if you got people coming over, you want to do a little bit more work and a little bit more presentation, things like this, where the accordion potatoes just on their own are a nice presentation.
Right.
But then you start stuffing them, and then you start thinking about what all can I do with that? You know, what are the different recipes? So this one, this is definitely a sort of dinner taste to it.
Yes.
But I have made a whole bunch of different Hasselback various vegetables, and so this is a Hasselback tomato, mozzarella, and basil zucchini.
Yum.
This is a red pepper, sausage, and mushroom potato.
Also
and this
yum.
one is maple syrup and breakfast links.
Oh, what?
With a sweet potato. So imagine that with a couple of poached eggs on the side.
Yep.
Totally.
And you've got a brunch that people will be talking about forever.
Yeah,
right?
that sounds really good.
And
That's
what I
all
like about
very
it,
nice
you
to
always
know.
have different versions of whatever you're making too. That's awesome.
Right, because that's what I'm trying to show is that you know, it's not about a recipe. A recipe is, people think a recipe is an end point. That's where you finish. But a recipe is a beginning point.
Yeah.
I look through a recipe and I think to myself, well, you know, maybe I would do it that way. Maybe I wouldn't. So,
Yeah.
you know, so then I was looking for different things and I saw this Hasselback and I thought of stuffing it. And then I looked around and I thought, oh, well, obviously lots of people have stuffed them. So, but then I started coming up with my own recipes for what goes in it. And so you can do carrots. I mean, you could use an apple as an ingredient. Or you could do it.
Adam, check out Adam on Facebook, Breakfast, Life, and Dinner. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll
Have
see
a
you
great
later.
day.